started. Ladies and gentlemen, the host of True Romance Fest 3 25th anniversary, Mr. Dietrich himself, Michael Rapaport.
First of all, I'm really honored to be here. I'm flattered, as I'm sure anybody that has to do with the film, that people still love it. The fact that it's 25 years ago really made me reflect and appreciate it. We have a quick clip, right, that was put together. Unfortunately, a lot of people, 25 years since we made this movie, have passed on, so we have a quick clip to celebrate and remember some of the people that have passed on that made this movie happen. So we're going to show that real quick. And then we're going to talk, answer some questions as best as we can, and then you guys can enjoy the movie.
Roll that clip, please. First of all, we have very excited to have here Tony Scott's wife. She has been a big supporter of this festival, and we're really happy to have her here. And she's actually wearing an original costume, Miss Donna Scott. That is the original Rose. Next up, you love him, you know him. His name is Paul Bates. Now, we don't discriminate here at True Romance Fest, but it sure feels like White Day. Next up, we have one of the crew members. She was there from day one to day end. And let's introduce the second AD, Miss Carey, Dietrich. Woo! You got 2 mics. We're going to pass it around. We got a mic here on the end. Okay, let's get this going. So, here's my first question to Mike Rapaport. When True Romance Fest, when True Romance wrapped, Tony Scott gave Patricia Arquette the Cadillac. He gave you a stuffed zebra head. Are you still bitter about that?
No, I was never bitter about it. The first movie I had done was a film called Zebrahead, and I believe there was a prop that I think might have been in the Drexel set of Zebrahead. So I got an actual stuffed zebra, and I kept it for a long time, and then when I finally moved back to New York, and you have to start, purging yourself of things, I had to get rid of the fucking zebra head. So, somebody has that zebra head. But he was such a generous guy, he had sent me, I still have it. He sent me, when we were shooting the roller coaster ride at Magic Mountain, what's funny, if you watch the movie tonight, you see, because the first time we did it, I was terribly, I got terribly sick and afraid, and he was like, you gotta do it one more time, and I literally was like, I'm going to die, like I thought I was gonna die. And then, after we wrapped the film, the only thing that was reshot in True Romance was we had to go back to Magic Mountain. And I remember him calling me personally, saying we're gonna get you medicine, and blah, blah, blah. And if you watch that tonight, carefully, for those of you who have seen it, if you can tell what was from the first shooting and what was from the second one, because the first shooting, my face is miserable, and on the second one, where I'm like clapping because they had me on some sort of, I don't know, what kind of happy But he sent me a note saying, just one more time, like, because he kept saying just one more time, and I was like, fuck you.
All right, Mike, here's another question for you. I know you get a lot of questions about what happened to Dietrich at the end of the movie when he goes running out of the hotel room and down the hall. Originally, there was more to that after you left.
The only scene of mine, and I believe the only scene that we didn't shoot, there was a scene where when I run out of that room and the hotel, where I run into the gangster, and he's getting ready, he's got a gun and he sees me, and this is a scene that I actually had to audition for to do the movie. So I always remember it because the audition process for me was so rigorous and it was such a high stakes. And the scene was where I'm begging him for my life. And then, I'm like, please don't kill me, like, you think, like, I'm gonna say, like, I have a mother and a father. And the character says, please don't kill me. I just got cast on TJ When we were gonna shoot the scene, we were at that hotel, and I remember Tony came over to me and he said, and I was all ready to go. He said, we have to cut it, we're out of time. And I was like, yo, what do you mean? He said, we have to do it. I go, well, what happened to Dietrich? He goes, no, you run away, you escape. And I just remember feeling like, oh shit. Because the scene meant so much because I had been focused on it so long, but that's nature show.
Next question is for Donna Scott. So let's talk about the pictures you brought, Donna. There's a scene between Christopher Walken and Dennis Hopper, and in the script, Walken puts the gun on Hopper's head and pulls the trigger. Well, Tony wanted to literally, he wanted to put that gun right to the head.
Yeah, so when they go to do the scene, a lot of this is improvised, the eggplant and all of that. The guys are going back and forth. So Tony told Walken, he said, I want you to put the gun all the way up on Dennis's head and pull the trigger. Like, put it right on his forehead. Dennis Hopper goes, fuck you, man. I'm not gonna put that shit on my head. No, it's gonna fuck me up. No. And Tony's like, no, man, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. It's great to do it. It's like, no, you fucking do it. It's like, I'll fucking do it. So then Tony sits down, and the stuntman puts the gun up on his head, and sure enough pulls the trigger, and boom, the top part comes forward, and puts a C mark, and the blood just dripping down Tony's face. He goes, all right, man, you're fucking right. So this is like Tony trying to out an actor that's been having guns pointed down like their whole lives, and knowing that there's charges. And shit really happens, and Tony's like, no man. But no, this is really what happens. So that's what happened in this scene. It's really interesting.
This question is for Paul Bates. How many times in your life do you think somebody's asked you if it's white boy day?
Okay, let's start. ask what day it is. Ask me if it's White Boy Day. No, man, it ain't White Boy Day. That makes 763,222.
Follow-up to that, when you were reading the script, did it make sense to you when you read that? Like, what the fuck is White Boy Day? Were you thinking that in your head, or were you like, this made total sense to you?
I'll tell you exactly what I was thinking when I read it. I got a fucking job! That's what it meant.
All right, next question for Carey here. Carey, you worked as a second AD on True Romance. You also worked as the first AD on Bad Teacher, which co-starred here Mr. Paul Bates. Be honest, was he a diva on set?
Well, I mean, you know, he's right here, but honestly, if we had another film to do tomorrow, if I knew he was in it, I'd probably turn it down. We've actually done 4 projects together, 3 features and a pilot. I told him what we're doing now.
Yeah. We're still working on it. We got something for Netflix.
This is for Michael. Michael, how close was Dick's audition scene for TJ Hooker to your actual audition for True Romance?
Well, the audition, the essence, the reason why I got cast in the part, I'll tell you, the character of Dietrich was originally supposed to be a black guy. And they had been, the story of True Romance was, this was with 1992, so it was before email, and everybody was, all the actors that I knew, and all the agents were talking about this script, True Romance. This is, you know, on the heels of Natural Born Killers, and of course, Reservoir Dogs, and Tony Scott was Tony, and the script was being passed around, and everybody was like, you read the next Tarantino script, because he was such a sort of hot commodity as a writer. And, you know, all my actor friends, Kevin Corrigan, who wound up in the film, and, you know, Paul Ben Victor, who I was friends with at the time, you know, we were all like, oh, I auditioned for this part. And the real true story was I had auditioned for one of the gangster parts, and I was cast. I got the part. And about 3 weeks later, they said the part of Dick Ritchie, they're having problems, and the casting assistant to Elsa, what's her name? Billy Hopkins. Mary Vanu was the assistant. She said, you should have that guy, Michael Rapaport, come in. He's really like that. Just in terms of, I was a 22-year-old actor looking for my break. So I remember it was a Thursday, and they said they want to have you come in on a Saturday, which in Hollywood, nobody fucking wakes up on a Saturday. But it was like 2 weeks out, and Tony was there, and Mary was there, and Billy Hopkins was there. And they, you know, I was like, you know, this is a better part. Like, I want this part. So when they were like, you know, they think you're right for this part, I remember telling Tony, I said, please don't let me, like, this is how I was similar to the character. I said, please don't let me leave until I get it right. And so I'm not gonna let you leave until you get it right. And we did it a bunch of times, and we went through the lines, and we went through the scenes, and you know, and I remember that night I went to a party and I ran into somebody, and I was like, yeah, I auditioned for Dick Ritchie, and you know, I hope I get it. And then lo and behold, one day they said to me that I got the part. So it was. And, you know, that movie, you know, everybody was reading the script, everybody was excited about it, and you heard Christian Slater's playing this part, and then Patricia Arquette, who I was excited about because I had just seen her in Indian Runner. And then, you know, I remember when I went back for the casting, Christopher Walken's picture was on the wall, and he was cast, and Val Kilmer, and, you know, it just stacked up, and I remember coming here when they were shooting. I had nothing to do here, but I remember I came here because I was so excited to be a part of something. It was the only time that I did a film that I knew it was going to be good. I just knew it was going to be good.
from Quentin Tarantino. How did they meet, and how did he end up getting that script?
Okay, so we were having a party at our house in Malibu back in, so it's not in 92, so this must have been like in 89, this must have been in 1990, it was 1991. And yeah, so we were having a party at our house in Malibu, and Tony said, listen, you know, my little assistant Catalin has this guy that she wants to bring to the party. I'm like, you know, these are our friends, you know, right? So Catalin walks in the door, and there's this big, tall, kind of goofy looking guy. And he comes up and she introduces Tony and Quentin. And yeah, there's probably 60, 70 people in the house. And so then they have this little tea room. So they meet, and then they both sort of like go together like this. And then off they go and they disappear into the back end of this tea house. And they never left the tea house the entire night. They sat the whole night, heads together, yada, 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 yada. And Catalin said, you know, I got this guy, and he's got this script, and I think he's really good. Actually, I think he's really good at a lot of stuff, and you know, Quentin. And then the next day, Tony and Quentin were on the phone together, and Tony read True Romance, and then it all came together, started happening. And then also, another tidbit is that Tony would bring Quentin in on other movies if there were scenes that weren't quite working, and get Quentin to rewrite the scenes. Like in Crimson Tide, Quentin rewrote the scene about the Libenzauer horses, and then built that energy. So they collaborated a lot more than True Romance. And when Quentin was shooting Reservoir Dogs, he was so nervous about making his first movie, he would call Tony, sitting in his office in our house, and go, man, I'm so fucked up, it's like, all right, man. And so then Tony would talk Quentin through when he was nervous about when he was shooting Reservoir Dogs. So they were super close, super collaborative the whole time.
I have one question from Paul here, and one more from Michael, and then we'll get on to the movie. I know it's late. So, Paul, now that Gary Oldman has won an Academy Award, do you go around telling people you taught him everything he knows? Gary Oldman.
Seems to me I heard this somewhere before. I tell people I carried him through True Romance. I carried him through it.
All right, one last question to Mr. Rapaport here. Have you ever had a roommate like Floyd? And if so, did he ever use the last piece of toilet paper?
I never had a roommate like Floyd. Never had a roommate that looked like Brad Pitt. None of the cleaning products, anything. You know, listen, you know, you guys are gonna, you know, you guys know the movie for the most part. I'm sure most of you guys have seen the movie. You know, I mean, you know, I just want to say that, you know, like to be here, to be a part of something that people still care about 25 years later, it's special. I'm proud of it. This is usually the time of night when I'm taking my second piss, so I'm just right past my bedtime. You know, as far as Floyd and Brad Pitt, you know, he had done a river runs through it. He had done Thelma and Louise. You knew that he was going to be everything that he turned out to be. Couldn't be more humble. As far as James Gandolfini, he was definitely the most nervous person on the entire set. He was like, I don't think he maybe did one other small thing. I remember he was freaked out to be a part of it. Right, like he was like a hardcore New York theater guy.
Didn't Tom Sizemore actually recommended him, I believe?
I'm sure. I mean, it was just a great, you know, like I said, it was a special script with a special director and put together a special cast, and you just sort of knew that it was going to be good. And you know, there's friends that I met on that film that I'm still friends with. You know, there's people that passed away. And like I said, you know, for you guys to be out here on a Saturday night, you know, with clearances and Alabamas in all different shapes, sizes, and colors. I gotta be honest, I only saw to make this festival happen. So you should give these guys one more round of applause. I respect the fact that you get